How's it going, ladies and gents? How are you guys doing? Back again with another Call of Duty Modern Warfare commentary video, doing another series of Is This Weapon Useful? And today we're going to be talking about the AUG. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the AUG has always been one of my favorite weapons to use in the entire Call of Duty series, going back all the way to Black Ops. This gun in Black Ops absolutely packed a punch, and in Modern Warfare 2, this is the first Call of Duty series in which they introduced the AUG submachine gun to us, or the AR, because in the past Call of Duties they classified the AUG mainly as an assault rifle, but now in Modern Warfare they classified it as an SMG. And for the attachments for this gun, I use the 407mm extended barrel with the muzzle flash consisting of the CQB breacher device, and for optics I use the Corp Combat holographic sight, and for perk I use the FMJ. And if you guys are just starting out with the AUG, then I highly suggest using this weapon setup, because for a beginner this is actually a really good setup in my personal opinion, because these setups practically pack a punch for this gun. And with the AUG, it's one of those weapons where it has the perfect just a recoil control. You can easily control the recoil with it. It's not like the other weapons. Now, despite this gun having a lower fire rate than the MP5 or the MP7, it still is powerful enough to do damage from close range, and you can still easily hip fire the enemy and drop shotting them. So first I'm going to give you guys a brief history of the AUG. The AUG was developed in Austria. It's really referred to as the Steyr AUG, but this gun has been used by the Australian Army. In fact, I heard that this is the Australian Army's favorite weapon to use in trainings and all that stuff. So the AUG has somewhat made a big impact on the Australian Army. And going back to the main topic, using the AUG is very useful for medium and short distances, because since they classified the AUG as an SMG here, when it comes to trying to get an enemy from long distances with it, you're going to have to either burst fire with it or tap the enemy, because trying to shoot them from long distances usually is not really as effective as tapping or burst firing them. But let's just say if you want to kill an enemy from long distances, you just got to learn how to control the spray, because if you can learn to control the spray from long distances with the AUG, then you can easily get enemies from long distances. But I highly suggest just either bursting or tap firing the enemy if you're a beginner in using the AUG in Modern Warfare. Like me, for example, for long distances I always tap, double tap or 3-round burst, or just single tap the enemy. And from long distances, this gun really is just like the same other SMGs, that it doesn't do a lot of damage as much as it does from close distances, but it's still, like I said before, it still packs an absolute punch. And one other thing that I'm going to talk to you about the AUG is that it actually has two ammunition choices. You can use either the 5.56 or the 9mm, because with the 5.56, for example, it does a lot of damage at long ranges, although I think it increases the recoil of the weapon. You can either choose to use the 5.56 or the 9mm, but I'm just used to using the standard 9mm ammunition with the AUG whenever I play a Modern Warfare game. Now, in between gunfights with the AUG, without using the extended mag, you're going to have to reload a lot, and I highly also recommend using the extended mag for this gun if you can, because I'm not using the extended mag here because I haven't unlocked it yet with the AUG, but if you can, I highly suggest, because I think the extended mag holds 50-60 rounds, which is good for spraying 3 or 2 enemies, because by using the standard 30 round millimeter magazine, it's kind of a bit impossible to spray down an entire enemy team rushing at you, for example. As for optics, I'm used to using the holographic sights on the AUG, because personally I'm not really a big fan of the standard iron sights on this gun. Just using an optic on this gun just makes the gameplay and overall the feeling of just using the AUG a lot better. And I feel like that by using an optic on this gun, you can really just control the bullet spray, because it's just easier to control it, because with the optics you can actually see better at where the bullets are heading towards the enemy when you engage in a gunfight. Now, in this game, the AUG can be mainly considered a hybrid weapon, because you can either run it as an SMG or run it as an AR, but me personally, I prefer running it as an AR, although I usually just treat it like an SMG in terms of spraying down the enemy. And in terms of spraying, I don't recommend using the laser sight at all. I try and stay away from using laser sights in this game, just because the laser sights can easily reveal your position. And when I'm engaged in a gunfight with the AUG, just the laser sights, I don't know, they just feel a bit weird, because back in Black Ops 2, for example, I used to use the laser sights a lot because they actually helped me with spraying down the enemy, although I recently got used to using just the spray technique in Modern Warfare without just having to rely on the laser tactical sight. Now, if you compare the AUG to other games, for example, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, because I stream a lot of CSGO on Twitch just because I'm a big fan of CSGO. I still enjoy playing CSGO after all these years, competitive, Dust 2. I always try and run the AUG whenever I'm playing on the CT side, just because with the AUG, it just gives you a better view of the enemy, because with the AUG in CSGO, it has a standard reflex sight, which just helps you out so much in Dust 2, especially when you're trying to, for example, watch cat, or when you're watching long, the reflex sight just gives you a better view of the enemy. So just like in CSGO, I prefer using an optic for the AUG. And one of the reasons why I highly recommend using an optic for this AUG if you want to do good with this weapon is because the reflex, not the reflex, but the iron sights for this gun I feel like kind of obstruct my view, especially whenever I'm going against an enemy. It just feels a bit off, and I usually just end up not seeing where the enemy goes, because compared to the reflex sight, I can actually see the enemy way better, and it doesn't obstruct your view as much, and you don't have to, run suppressor then, because I tried running suppressor on this weapon here, but using suppressor isn't really that effective in my personal opinion, so I just don't use the suppressor attachment at all, and I just mainly use the reflex sight no matter what other attachments I use for this AUG, because I also experiment with the other attachments as well, but I've recently been using these main attachments that I mentioned here in this video just because they've actually really helped me out a lot. So if you're struggling, try using these attachments that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and let me know in the comment section below if using these attachments helps you out at all. But if you have any other suggestions on how to use the AUG as well, then you can also leave a comment below and we can have a discussion about this gun. But hey, in the past Call of Duty series, man, the AUG has without a doubt just been one of the most underrated weapons, and I think that the AUG, in my personal opinion, is the second best SMG in this game after the P90, because when it comes to SMGs, dude, P90 just blows all the other SMGs out of the water. Now, this might be a little bit off topic, but it's related to the AUG as well. In fact, the Australian Army is not the only army that uses the gun, but the New Zealand Army and the Austrian Army also use this gun as their main standard weapon choice. Now, the standard loadout for this gun is 25 ammo, meaning that it only holds 25 bullets without using all the other attachments, but I kind of recommend using the extended mag once you unlock it, and also the scavenger if you plan on defending a site, for example, in hardpoint or in domination. Now, hey, that's just my personal opinion and suggestion, but anyways, guys, in conclusion, using the AUG is such a fun weapon, and I never get tired of using it. I always have a blast using it, just slapping the weapon on and being able just to spray down the enemy with it just gives you a nice feeling, and it just increases, in my opinion, your luck of getting score streaks and or kill streaks as well. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe, and let me know what other weapon I should talk about. So y'all have a good one.